The WCTU is one of the oldest women's organisations in the world, founded 1883 in America under Frances Willard. It quickly swept throughout the world. Her energetic thrust initiated a do-anything policy with a focus on three ministries: the gospel, temperance and social reform. This is summed up in the WCTU motto: for God, home and humanity. South Australia was formed in 1886. Mrs. Elizabeth Webb Nichols standing as president, along with 57 founding members, and by 1889, SA had well over 1,100 members and 23 unions throughout the state. Many South Australia achievements were world first and paved the way for social reforms throughout this country and the rest of the world.
The WCTU women of 1886 did not waste any time mounting up their newly formed army of women to take the government head on for their right to vote and to be recognised as citizens. Their brilliance of networking and boots on the ground campaigning and lobbying led to one of the biggest victories for women worldwide in 1884, the passing of the suffrage bill. And while New Zealand achieved the right for women to vote the previous year, SA was the first in the world where women could stand for Parliament. The history of the WCTU is nothing short of inspiring. It helped bring changes in legislation, not just in temperance issues, but also very instrumental in shaping education, workplace and labour-related issues, with key research from doctors, scientists, governments and from manufacturers around the world.
Today, out of the SA office, WCTU is working with Aboriginal communities in Alice Springs, plus supports Love Adelaide, which runs the Walk for Life campaign. We also provide literature on temperance and are the founders of the successful We Care Box program, which is distributed from major crime to families affected by homicide and suicide. And as part of our base, we have our popular tea room and history display.
The founders faced issues back in their day, but today is also a dynamic time in our social history. We are facing a new set of strategic threats to culture that some may even struggle to comprehend and feel overwhelmed. It's not surprising we are seeing drugs and alcohol being used more and more as a coping mechanism. Although the WCTU numbers are much less these days, there is no shortage of issues. Here's both the challenge and the opportunity. So where to from here? Well, there is much to do. Women might now be elected to Parliament, but they also needed to be active voices and agents within society. Women of strength, integrity and moral courage are needed more than ever. We need such women to become warriors with clear voice to meet the threats and take a stand against evils that seek to destroy our families, faith and freedoms. Regular meetings at WCTU in Adelaide are used for fellowship, inspirational and planning opportunities. And we have a strong network of supporters and advocates.
Love Adelaide is a very proud supporter and partner of the WCTU. We want to thank you so much for joining us on this mission to bring forward the information about what is going on in our government and to uphold the sanctity of life in South Australia. So for me, the WCTU and for our board at Love Adelaide, going to the WCTU and being able to pray with those women on that ground and the foundation that was set up hundreds of years ago, or over 100 years ago, is really significant. You know, the foundations of the WCTU and in prayer is where we start. We know that all of this, the issues that are before us are beyond us, and we need the Lord's help in getting it through. So we start with prayer, we end with prayer, and in the middle, we do a lot of work. Our hands and our feet have to get on the ground, and that's what the WCTU stands for. They're a witness to us that it actually took a lot of work. And so getting out into the community and bringing awareness to what the government's up to is our mission. We want to uphold the righteousness of God, The pillar and the truth has to be the foundation of all that we do. Thank you, WCTU, for supporting Love Adelaide, the Walk for Life, and we look forward to working with you for all the years to come.
I'm here today to speak to you about the Women's Christian Temperance Union, and that's an organisation I've been very honoured to have a great deal to do with during this last period of 2 years, during this extraordinary emergency period that we've all been thrust into unexpectedly. I've found, my experience has been, it's been Christian folk who've come to the fore to really grapple with the challenge to our freedoms and to our whole set of civilizational values. That's been my experience. You may have had a different one, but that's been mine, and it's the Women's Christian Temperance Union here in Adelaide and across Australia has been a very important part of that. And why shouldn't that be the case? Because if ever there was an era that was made for Christian activism, that called forth Christians to activism, engagement in the great issues of our time, this is it, surely. And my dealings with the Women's Christian Temperance Union has for me, it's exemplified there. They are Christian activists par excellence. With the decline in our churches and with the decline in the moral probity of our other institutions, it's the institutions that are devoted to the making of money that have come to the fore. And this is where I see a great future, a really blossoming future for this wonderful organisation, the Temperance Union. I've had the honour of being involved in them with the fight against all of the tyrannies that have been inherent in this emergency management. And so as community groups have come together to respond to this challenge, I've found the Temperance Union group, the lovely ladies involved in that, right at the heart of presenting us with an opportunity to meet. The rooms in which we've met, I don't say this with any sense of hyperbole. I've said it to them many times. I say it to them every time I join in a meeting there. I find their rooms a holy place. And that's got something to do with the true piety of the people who run the institution, of course. But there's something in the woodwork. There's something in the generationally that's been handed down to this organisation since they were first created, as I say, in the late 19th century. A passion, an enormous reservoir of courage, and of course their faith to draw upon. So I see a great future as we go forward for the Temperance Union, and I hope to be able to continue to participate in all of the work they do.
As you have seen, our local network appreciates the value and contribution of the WCTU. Here are the opportunities which the WCTU in this state intends to advance. Mentoring the next gen of women political candidates, those who share our views.
Coaching emerging female leaders in debate, negotiation and media skills.
Networking with other social activation groups.
Growing a resource pool of research data for social activation.
Producing briefing and WCTU audio and video updates. Sharing via web and social media.
Engaging with the political sphere and providing key information.
Lobbying for policy adjustments.
Educating on health, stress management and an alternative to alcohol and drugs. We have an understanding of what is required and our vision as to what we can achieve. The challenges today are real and present. Today, as we stand on our history, we look into the future. The WCTU in South Australia is determined to leverage our heritage to play our part and make a difference.